On this episode, AntSol Travel, today's date is April 1st. It is April Fool's for all the transit agencies and companies out there with their wacky ideas, such as NCTD's triple-decker breeze bus or table service Costco food court. That sounds interesting. However, one thing that is not a joke today is, well, the end of Anaheim Transportation Network and their service ARTIC, Anaheim Resort Transportation Bus. Unfortunately, has come to an end, and new services are starting to take their place, as everything has collapsed on there due to rising cost on there, especially for labor and a lot of other things as well that happened for Anaheim Transportation. So, what is happening next for transportation here in Anaheim? Well, you'll find out here next here on AntSol Travel. But first, if you want to know more about Anaheim Transportation Network, we'll continue along with that here from one of my previous videos. So to make things a bit more well-informed of what exactly is happening here and how they got to this.
I got most of the historic information from Anaheim Transportation Network services from their 2026 fiscal budget transmittal. You can rate there yourself. You can see how dire their situation was before everything started winding down. It wasn't looking good. Let's just say that. Anaheim Transportation Network was formed in 1995 to prepare a new bus system to transport resort area guests from the hotels to Disneyland, with funding from fare box revenue, various grants, and assessments to hotels and businesses that utilize their service. Anaheim Resort Transportation, or ART for short, is the core of their system, with the fixed bus routes from Anaheim hotels to Disneyland in 2002. Yes, it did take them 7 years to launch the service. And over the last 24 years, so this also included is Disneyland to Garden Grove in Orange 2003, the Anaheim train station in 2008, that later moved to the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center, or ARTIC for short, in 2014, along with Buena Park and Santa Ana in 2011, and Costa Mesa in 2015. In 2010, they took over shuttle services for the Toy Story parking lot shuttles as well. In 2019, they added the free rides around the neighborhood, or FRAN for short, and that added free rides around City Center, aka downtown Anaheim, funded by assessment fees to businesses around the area. Of course, everything came crashing down in 2020. That happened, but kept afloat with COVID area funding. That could only get them so far. Service resumed in April 2021 when Disneyland reopened and reinstated regular ART services. In 2022, Anaheim Transportation Network launched Everybody Ventures Everywhere, or E for short, which was a shuttle service that with dedicated vans or 30-foot bus that goes from Anaheim Resort area to John Wayne Santa Ana Airport, or SNA for short, and only was $15 per person. Great for services to hotels, from hotels to the airport. However, if the shuttle is on the other side of the system, you have to wait a bit. In March 2024, to cut down empty bus trips, ATN implemented combined routes for routes that are similar routing that are combined in late mornings into early evenings. The only route that is not combined is Grand Plaza Line 5, as it served a lot of the convention area center, that with over 1,000 guest rooms for the Anaheim Marriott and over 1,500 rooms for the Hilton Anaheim. The bus operators are contracted by Parking Company of America, with the union represented by Teamsters Local 952, with bus operator wage of $25 per hour. In May 2025, ATN announced that they were running a huge deficit to a tune of $730,000 a month. That's with running all their services, including Eve, Fran, ART, and more. With 70% of their expenses just going to labor itself due to the $25 per hour wage, and especially they need so many shuttle operators to move for the Toy Story parking lot shuttles. Anaheim Transportation Network planned to either get funding from the Tourism Improvement District funds from ATID hotel fees, or get a hostile takeover from the city of Anaheim. Both of them failed because due to the high monthly deficit. As a cost-saving measure, Eve and Fran were preemptively cut in November 29, 2025, before the vote of the wind-down service. Stayed as a temporary seasonal pause that is now permanent. On January 29, 2026, the board of directors voted to end ATN services and wind down the service by March 31st, 2026. This sent everyone reeling about the future of Anaheim Transportation Network and if and who will take over bus services. Disney has a plan for the future for Toy Story parking lot, as it will get a new shuttle operator that provides services to make the seamless switch as possible at the end of ATN services on March 31st. I'm sure hotels are also working on their own plan for contracted shuttles as well. Right now, hotels that have their own shuttle services include the Canyon Inn, with a weirdly short, just over half-mile route from the parks, the Majestic Garden Hotel, that's a mile away, and Hyatt Regency Orange County, that's 2 miles away. All of them are, so Canyon Inn and Magic Garden Inn are free, however, Hyatt Regency costs $7 for a full day pass. This could give some insight about the future of hotel shuttles that will take over. Some may be free, some may cost money. One of the projects that will definitely be on hold right now is the Advancing Neighborhood Networks for All, or ANA for short. This was a project to build a dedicated transit connector from down Catella that goes from the resort area to the ARTIC, Angel Stadium, and Honda Center. Of course, this may take a bit longer than going to be, but well after the Olympics for sure. There have been plans for an aerial gondola system along Catella, which has been put out for public feedback in September 2025 by Swift Cities, a company that's been attempting to put aerial gondolas in this gondola system in the Great Park in Irvine since March 2025. The fall of ATN is a warning that funding and managing costs is not done properly, any transit system can fail, and any can suffer huge cuts or just shutdowns. Orange County Transportation Authority, or OCTA, who manages OCBus, said, well, a lot of our routes are kind of redundant since a lot of them are just kind of linear anyways, such as hotels.
Oh, you're back. Awesome. Okay, so now you're caught up with everything that's happened with Anaheim Transportation Network. It is now to showcase more of what's happening next. So, especially there as well, on yesterday, which was pretty much on the day of filming on here, was March 31st, 2026, the final day of Anaheim Transportation Network buses service. And pretty much I did all that as well, pretty much just to make sure to get all the routes on there because I haven't done all the routes before. And especially now with all the new services is kind of a bit more privatized and not as welcoming to the public, so to just randomly take an excursion for. So let's go check out here how things were on the last day of service. Good morning. It is just about noon right now, and we are outside of Anaheim Boulevard, and then over there is the Anaheim Transportation Network's offices off of Anaheim Boulevard, right before you get to Ball Road going north. So for there as well, they have is the ART buses stationed over there, along with their units off of Claudia Street. So today we are going to go ride the last of the ART bus, as today is March 31st. 2026, which is also in the DC Metro streetcar as well. So there, let's go down the street to get to catch the 8 bus from the Viv down the street. On March 25th, 2026, Anaheim Transportation Network held their final meeting of the wind down service on March 31st. It includes Anaheim Tourism Improvement District to buy the ATN bus depots for $6.3 million by the city of Anaheim as an owner, since ATID is a special district and it cannot have actual ownership. ATID will lease out buses to local hotels and their shuttle operators if that case and use the depot. However, some of the hotels already have new service already, so I'm not sure how exactly that's going to work out, but we'll see how that goes. OCTA will auction off the ATN buses that will not be used by an auction firm to interested public transportation agencies, since these are bought from grants and it still has to be used somewhere. It just cannot be used. It can't be used for private use. So there's still probably some of the companies that may use it there. It's for other hotels who don't particularly have service right now, but we'll see how that goes into the future. And especially for those hotels who do not have service there, pretty much is just you just take OCBus or Rideshare or walk. Yeah, that's all you can do. But pretty much all the fleet will be auctioned off for the ones that won't be acquired by ATN and City of Anaheim. And then over time during April, they'll also take down signage and equipment and wind things down in the back office wise there as well. So. on Anaheim Boulevard offices and went down to the Viv. The Viv Hotel is part of the 7-8 route. But for this case there, the ArtBus 7-8 arrived. But of course, the way that Viv does it actually deviates. It doesn't stop on the street. If it stopped in the street, then it would go stop all over, but pretty much like back at Cerritos, like a block before that, if that was the case. But of course, to make it easier, just do whole deviation. But of course, you gotta pull up the cones every single time. So for those guests, I'm sure you have to walk or drive instead. Especially it's about over a mile away. Some people may not want to do that, especially got that underpass you got to go through. Not the best place to really go through, especially at night. But I got through there, not too bad. On board the 7-8 bus, we've gone around through the loop that is for the hotel circle for that case there, such as like the Clementine, JW / and then the Wyndham Worldmark, and then we went on the way to Disneyland from there. On the way there, at the Wyndham Worldmark Hotel, we got 2 people that were on there along the Clementine Suites before then. So for them, we're actually not informed on how payment works, surprisingly. Pretty much all of them ask about the day passes, and it doesn't seem like it, because pretty much at the hotel that I work at, we pretty much just be like, oh yeah, here's the shuttle information on there, you buy a day pass with the QR code and you're good to go. However, it seemed like nobody knew that on there, so they all each paid $4 per way for that case there. Then eventually end up at the bus space for the end of the first bus route. Yay! However, pretty much all the other buses were gone at the time on there, so might as well go through security for Disneyland, go to the restrooms, and then take the Toy Story line out. On the Toy Story line, pretty much it was not formally announced at the time on there, but later I did ask one of the bus operators on there, and pretty much it will still be operated by Parking Company of America, which is the current operator right now for Anaheim Transportation on there, and now just being transferred over to the Toy Story line, and then also Garden Grove is going to have their own line as well, which we'll talk about later. Now on Toy Story Shuttle, for there, pretty much it was a smooth ride, and just went all the way to the Toy Story lot. When I arrived at Toy Story lots, I head towards the Anaheim Convention Center to see if you can catch the 3, 4, and 5 route. However, all of them were still charging at the time, so for there, I decided to go further down the way to catch the 911 bus over, for that case there, down Catella. When it was Walnut and Catella, I waited for the 911 bus to come around, and then which does a clockwise around the parks for the hotels around the perimeter of the park. And then we arrived and took the bus to Shuttle to Disneyland. And then on the way there was a couple guys on there who seemed like was doing the same thing that I was doing there as well. And especially a guy said, hey. Oh, I guess there's a new Shuttle. Hey. I don't know who you guys are, but if you are in that video, hi. Please comment below if that was you guys. I'll gladly follow you guys back. And then also one thing as well, I did see that also for there was a shuttle that was doing test drives around for the hotels around the Anaheim Convention Center. For the Marriott, Hilton, Clarion, and the Sheraton. Oh, that's interesting. So, at least now we know there was a shuttle. Yay! So I did later see that it is operated by a third-party company. So it looks like that for their shuttle operator is HMS Transportation, which normally does airport shuttle transfers and does LAX shuttles as well from this Nesta LAX terminal. So they're going to be doing that similar setup except all the way in Anaheim. I wonder how they're able to do that. Especially now you have people who have to commute over there to ride the shuttles. So it looks like they're still able to keep the same ticket rate for the day pass. So $6 per adult. Then they got got a 3-day pass as well for $16. That's $4 for seniors, 65 and older. $10 per adult for a 3-day pass, and then $3.50 per child between 3 and 10 years old. $9 for a 3-day pass, and then for infants for 2 and under are free. So for there, I decided to take the bus, the 5 line over to the Anaheim Convention Center, and I double checked that beforehand with the Anaheim Marriott staff. And I was like, oh, hey guys, so is this real? I just saw this bus. Is this actual shuttle? And I said, yeah, it is. So they said they were getting ready for the shuttle there as well, and especially they got me a flyer on there to see how it looks, and I was like, oh, looks pretty good. By then, it was 2 o'clock. Yeah, so far that was 2 hours and I left at noon without any actual lunch there, but I decided to grab lunch at Panera. So I took the OCBus 43 to Disneyland from the hypothetical route from the Anaheim Convention Center stop at Convention Way. There was only 2 stops along the way, with Catella being the only intermediate stop. And of course, it took 8 minutes since the bus operator had to wait for the time slot at Catella. Yeah, it would still be quicker to take shuttle anyway, so whatever. When we exited Disneyland, went to Panera at 2 p.m. and then got my mix and match salad and sandwich combo for $12, which got half turkey sandwich, bacon sandwich, and a Caesar salad. Both were delicious, and I got a coffee as well, of course. So now time to take the last ART routes. When I was eating, the City of Garden Grove posted about their new shuttle system that was called Grove District Transit, or GDT. That will have 3 shuttle lines from the 10 Garden Grove hotels to Disneyland for a $7 day pass. There will be 3 routes that will take over the 3 and 4 lines down Harbor Boulevard to Garden Grove hotels. Route 1 will serve directly on Harbor Boulevard that will serve the Residence Inn, Sheraton, and Great Wolf. Route 2 will be hotels off at Chapman and Resort Way, such as like the Homewood Suites, Delta Hotel, and then also the Marriott Suites. And then Route 3 is the Hilton brand hotels up Yucca Avenue, which Homewood Suites, Hilton Garden Inn, Embassy Suites, Hampton Inn. So speaking of the ART 3 and 4 lines, let's go to the Anaheim Marriott Suites to Chapman Avenue. Not to be confused with the Anaheim Marriott next to the Anaheim Convention Center for that case there. And then from there, just took a nice bus ride all the way down Chapman Avenue and exit for the Anaheim Marriott Suites. And from there, then took the 54 across the street 4 line down to Chapman Avenue to the City Drive to catch the 6-4 Disney Way Manchester line route. I exited off the OCBus 54 and headed over to the outlets of Orange to use the restrooms there. And especially since I already missed the 612 bus, might as well just do that there. Then did a mad dash from Chapman Avenue to the outlets of Orange to go to the restroom, and then dashed over back to Chapman and State College for a board the 612 line back to Disneyland. This was the only bus operator that questioned, why don't you have an email? Well, sir, I never received one, so here's my confirmation for the day pass. Don't question me about it, please. And I never got one. I was like, fine, be that way. At Chapman, and then from there we took the 15 line back, especially since it was like about starting to be semi-commute time. We just went on the I-5 bit north and then exit off Catella and then just meandered our way back to the terminals. Back at Disneyland, time for the wait for the 15 line to the ARTIC, the last route. The bus that was waiting here was the 17 line, the Anaheim Canyon Metrolink Station route, timed with the arrival of the Inland Empire Metrolink stations to Riverside. Unfortunately, we don't have time for that, and especially I need to be back at home for dinner, so because getting back from Anaheim Canyon can be quite interesting. You gotta take 3 buses maybe. Yeah, I think it was 2. But still, it takes a while to get back, so I didn't want to do that there, and that would not really complete everything in time anyways. The 15 line is on its way here, my last ART bus ride of the day to the ARTIC. Alternatives are to do that instead for this route is the OCBus 553 weekdays only, and then on the weekends and the rest of the weekdays you want to do so. If you miss it, is the 50 bus to Catella, which you still gotta walk half a mile for the whole length of California Adventure for that case there. And then on the way over to the ARTIC, the 15 bus was tailing right behind the alternatives for its end of its route, the OCBus 50. Also, so many advertising dots, it burned my eyes. At the ARTIC, I have completed taking all the combined ART routes except for the 17, but at least I did see it. I'm going to miss Anaheim Transportation Network and the ART bus, especially it has so much easier connections and routes that will make so much easier, but now everything's going to be so fragmented and you gotta remember like which one it is. Well, technically not really, but still. Oh well. At Disneyland's pickup drop-off area, hotels that won't have legacy ART service will pretty much just do Rideshare or OCBus or walk. Yay. Of course, this rideshares will accumulate so much more ridership for sure there. So, and especially I'm sure there'll be a huge uptick in how much it will cost with the overall demand for sure to go to Disneyland by rideshare for sure. Oh boy, and after that, that was a huge whirlwind trip of taking things by transit. Yeah. But for there as well, pretty much happens on here on April 1st is all new train services that started, Garden Grove District, and then the Anaheim campus, aka the hotels that are convention center served by that shuttle, and then also are now started up, along with the all-white city like transit coach buses that is powered by, I think, compressed natural gas. So that one, at least that one there, is the end of an era here in Anaheim. I miss it, but you can only do so much here for that kind of case, and especially if your finances for transit is not going to cover the costs, is like, what are you going to do? Yeah, what are you going to do? Thanks for watching here on AntSol Travel.